All right, let's dive right into an absolutely incredible story of deception. And we're going to start with some staggering numbers that will frankly blow your mind. Before we get into the man behind the myth, we really need to grasp the sheer scale of what we're looking at in this explainer. Because this is not just a story about petty theft. It's a literal masterclass in human vulnerability, a pure psychological war.
Just imagine, for a second, cashing over $2.5 million in fraudulent checks. I mean, that is an enormous sum of money today, let alone back in the 1960s. But the real kicker? He pulled all of this off before his 21st birthday. While most kids are, figuring out their college majors or working entry-level jobs, our subject was moving millions. And he wasn't just pulling off this unbelievable heist in one city, or even one state. No, he did this across 26 different countries. As a teenager, he was operating on a massive global scale, seamlessly bypassing international security and leaving authorities completely, utterly baffled.
Section 1. The greatest con artist. The real Catch Me If You Can.
So, this is the true story of Frank Abagnale, the guy whose 1960s exploits inspired that hit Steven Spielberg film starring Leonardo DiCaprio. But trust me, Hollywood only scratched the surface here. Growing up in New York, a 16-year-old Frank faced his parents' divorce and found himself completely on his own. He had no money, absolutely no master plan, but what he did have was a razor-sharp mind, extraordinary confidence, and zero fear of the consequences.
Section 2. A master of disguise, escalating the con.
Frank figured out really early on that simply dressing the part made people believe absolutely anything. I mean, he started his major cons by forging a Pan Am airline pilot's ID. And this wasn't to fly the planes, but to deadhead, using the crew pass system to ride flights for free. For 2 whole years, he flew over 1 million miles, staying in luxury hotels, eating in fine restaurants, all billed straight to Pan Am. To get actual cash, he printed fake payroll checks, flashing his pilot ID at banks, and literally walking out with bags of money. But eventually, he escalated to entirely new, high-stakes identities, first as a Georgia doctor and then a Louisiana lawyer.
The audacity here is just staggering. In Georgia, he got his hands on a fake medical degree and actually supervised medical interns at a hospital for nearly a year, with zero medical training. None. How? Well, he got away with it by letting the interns do all the actual work while he just nodded authoritatively. Then he forged a Harvard law degree, studied intensely, and somehow, unbelievably, passed the Louisiana bar exam on his 3rd attempt. He worked at the state attorney general's office for almost a year. He even posed as a federal agent and a university professor. And through all of this, none of these highly educated professionals ever raised a single red flag.
Now, naturally, a crime spree of this magnitude is gonna attract some massive heat. The FBI dedicated a dozen agents specifically to catching him, 12 highly trained agents tracking one teenager across the globe. Yet, incredibly, he was arrested and successfully escaped custody twice. In one of the most wild moments of this entire saga, he managed to escape by looking his own guards dead in the eye and convincing them that he wasn't a prisoner at all, but an undercover FBI agent inspecting the facility. You can't make this stuff up.
But, nobody can run forever. His global spree finally hit a brick wall in France in 1969. The law caught up to him, leading to some pretty harsh prison sentences in multiple countries before he was eventually extradited back to a U.S. federal prison. Sitting there in a cell, it really seemed like the classic, predictable end to a criminal story.
Section 3. The extraordinary FBI offer. From convict to consultant. But here is where the narrative completely flips. Instead of closing the book on Frank Abagnale, the authorities did something truly unprecedented. They looked at the absolute genius of his deception, and they offered him a job. Yeah, instead of locking him away forever, they brought him on as a consultant. Frank spent decades working with the FBI, major banks, and corporations, teaching them exactly how he fooled everyone and helping them redesign secure checks and build defenses against people just like him. So, this brings us to the crucial question. How exactly did a teenage kid manage to fool the entire world for years? I mean, he wasn't using advanced technology. He wasn't hacking mainframes with complex code. He didn't use weapons or force. How on earth did he bypass the tightest security checks of the era using nothing but paper and conversation?
Section 4. Exploiting human psychology. The true vulnerability.
Well, the answer to his success is a little uncomfortable. See, Frank wasn't hacking security systems, he was hacking human nature.
He realized a fundamental flaw in how we perceive the world, which is that people see what they want to see. If someone is wearing a uniform, our brain instantly signals authority. We are literally conditioned not to question someone who walks with confidence and simply looks like they belong in that space. Frank targeted human psychology, which is, without a doubt, the most dangerous vulnerability of all. Think about it. You can build the strongest steel vault, you can write the most complex security software, but if the person guarding the door can be charmed or manipulated, the entire system fails. Human psychology is a vulnerability that no software patch in the world is ever going to fix.
Section 5. 3 Lessons in Vulnerability. Safeguarding the Truth.
Drawing from his decades as a top-tier security consultant, Frank distilled his experiences down to 3 critical lessons about our own psychological blind spots. The first lesson is foundational. Always verify credentials independently, never just visually. A pilot's badge, a beautifully tailored suit, or an official-looking document is not actual proof of identity. If you trust your eyes alone, you're leaving the front door wide open. You absolutely must verify who someone is through independent channels.
Lesson 2 is perhaps the most vital takeaway here. Confidence is not competence. As humans, we naturally gravitate towards people who seem sure of themselves. But Frank proved that the most dangerous people in any room are often those who appear the most certain. Just because someone sounds like they know exactly what they're doing doesn't mean they actually do. I mean, remember, this guy ran a hospital ward purely on the power of sounding authoritative.
And Lesson 3 reveals a pretty hard truth about organizations. Institutions are only as strong as the humans running them. Every single organization Frank infiltrated had strict processes that absolutely should have caught him, but those processes failed. Why? Because humans trusted their eyes and their gut feelings over their own systems. Today, this is exactly why cybercriminals use phishing emails. They aren't hacking your computer, they are hacking your trust to bypass the system entirely. At the end of the day, Frank Abagnale fooled multiple countries for years, and his multi-million-dollar psychological war was won with incredibly simple tools. We're talking just a well-tailored suit, a charismatic smile, and the oldest trick in the history of the world, a willingness to tell people exactly what they wanted to hear.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to look around your own world, your workplace, your inbox, your daily interactions. Consider the cognitive shortcuts you take every single day. And I'll leave you with this somewhat uncomfortable question to chew on. Who did you trust today just because they looked the part?